So, we got a deeper sneak peek into Unfinity as the spoiler season begins for this set. But how weird is it going to get? And is it something that you should actually be keeping your eye on? Welcome on in, Dragonfolk. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I am. And believe it or not, the Unfinity spoilers kind of hit me a little bit. But I gotta say, even with all the weird stuff that's been going on with the set, all the weird new mechanics that they're adding into the game, I still don't think they're gonna see any kind of actual successful play. And I'm gonna let you know why. So, first, we're going to talk about the actual things that are occurring. So, in a previous video, we talked about stickers, right? Stickers is the first mechanic that is being implemented into the game. And so, the sticker mechanic is in every booster pack of Unfinity, there is going to be a sticker sheet. You're going to have 3 name stickers, 3 just regular stickers, 2 ability stickers, and 2 power toughness stickers. Now, the ability stickers and the power toughness stickers are only applied after using the ticket resource. Tickets are, as explained by Mark Rosewater, kind of like energy counters. And so you keep a store of those, and then as you need to use them, or as something may say you can put a sticker onto a card, you need to have the right amount of tickets in order for you to use that sticker. If you're using an ability sticker, or if you're using a power toughness sticker. So, of course, those are the case. Now, when it comes to drafting with these, you do not open your draft pack and then pass them. You actually open your draft pack, and that is the sticker sheet you get. You get 3 sticker sheets. And then when you're playing in constructed formats like Commander and Legacy and Vintage, those you choose between a random, I think was a random 3 sticker sheets. So I don't know exactly how the randomness is going to be put into effect, because you could just choose the 3 that you know you're going to need and not have to worry about that. But I'm not too sure on the rulings for the sticker thing yet. To think that stickers are entering these kind of formats, I almost want to think it's akin to Alchemy, right? Everybody got real upset when Alchemy got into Historic, and that's because Alchemy is a bunch of cards that are digitally made and not really meant to be like working well with the actual format, and it kind of ruined Historic for a lot of people on Arena. So that's kind of what I view this as, is there being an addition to these more eternal formats. Now, of course, whether or not they'll see actual play, I'm not too sure. But I do believe that at some point we're going to see something occur, and it's going to, I don't know. I don't think it'll be revolutionary because only a fourth of the cards are actually in this eternal format. You know what? The day when the day comes that somebody wins a tournament, some legacy tournament for $100,000, and they use stickers to win it, that's the day that I'll believe that Magic has done something that is so abrupt that we really can't stop it. So stickers are a thing, but again, they did come out with another mechanic, and the secondary mechanic is actually attractions. Attractions are as they're said, an attraction, and it's kind of like a ride at a carnival, right? Or like a hot dog stand or a concession stand or something. These are attractions, and so with these attractions, they all have their own separate decks. And they also have their own separate graveyards, and you can only utilize these things when you have a card that says you open an attraction, right? And in Eternal formats, this is only going to be able, I think you're only able to have like 3 attractions, 6 attractions. I can't remember how many, but you're only able to have a limited amount of attractions. And of course, they can only be eternal format attractions. Any card you find in Unfinity is going to be either a acorn stamp at the bottom of it or an oval stamp at the bottom of it. If it does not have either, the chances are it's probably eternal legal. So that's something to look out for when you're pulling these cards for these formats. Now, I think there's a great fun aspect to the acorn cards. There's a lot of acorn cards that have things like, drawing cards from your opponent's deck. Or there's even one that allows you to, Devil K. Neville, an absolutely insane card that I shared it on Twitter. It's a card where you literally you have to place the card on like on like the edge of the table, and you have to place creatures, horizontally across, and you then have to like flip the card, and it's got to flip over the creatures. And as long as it successfully makes it over all of the creatures, they all are destroyed. They made a whole website, they made a whole YouTube video on how to properly play Devil K. Neville, which is a play on Evel Knievel, right? So this is there are so many weird things that you can do with Magic the Gathering, and more specifically with the unsets. There's also another card that allows you to quite literally go and bring in somebody who is not even playing the game. It could just be somebody outside of the game. It doesn't even need to be another Magic player. It could be like, I don't know, it could be the some homeless guy from across the street. Like, it could be somebody, and they can just make that decision for you in these cards. The unstuff is really, really weird, but I really am still curious, even with these attractions and everything. And the attractions you're able to visit, and if you roll a 6, you're able to visit all your attractions at the same time. And some cards have allow you to, double up on that. So if you roll a 6, you get to visit your attractions and then visit them again. And all your attractions give different things, like scry or draw cards or, destroy an opponent's creatures, yada yada. That is the cool part about them. But both of those are just kind of weird. I'm really curious to see how they affect eternal formats. I don't know anybody who plays Legacy. And frankly, if you play Legacy, let me know in the comments down below. And because what my understanding is, right? My understanding is that if you're playing Legacy or Vintage, right? Like cut Commander out of it, right? Commander's a little bit more like, you're able to get into a more competitive scene with a budget deck in Commander. And Commander is a more casual format, so there's not really a whole lot of like pressure to be the best player. But in something like Legacy and Vintage, right? I don't know anybody who's running Legacy or Vintage tournaments, let alone think that if you're actually going to be playing Legacy with like your friends, why are you not just proxying your cards, So let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious to see who knows or who really plays Legacy or Vintage, and whether or not any of these cards are going to see play in your decks. But moving on from that, we're going to kind of get into, let's get into the list, right? So I know there's no set boosters for this set, right? But they did go over what is going to be in every single one of these packs. Collector boosters and draft boosters, right? Draft boosters, you're going to be able to find your full art planetary land. We talked about these lands in our previous video. We talked about the planetary ones. They're the ground level of a planet, and then there's the orbital ones, which are the like orbit view of that planet in particular. And then of course we have the shock lands, and these shock lands are all 10 shock lands are in this set, and that's all available in draft and collector boosters. But the list specifically is only available in collector boosters, and the list is exactly what you would think it is. It's a random card from the list, but it's a special the list. This list contains, you guessed it, cards from other unsets. So unstable, unglued, unsanctioned, right? They have tons of them. And by tons of them, I mean, like, I think there's like 30 cards on there. Those are going to be able to be brought in there too. So if you're looking for something from unglued or unstable, the chances are you might be able to find something in this set. Frankly, I would just buy that stuff instead, because I think you can buy the entirety of unglued for under $100, roughly. I can't remember. But obviously, because the cards in unglued are not legal in any other format, right? Just the ones that are coming out from Unfinity are going to be legal in Eternal formats, or at least the 1/4 that have the oval stamp or are otherwise not marked as the acorn, right? They also are considering the acorn format, the silver border format, right? The silver border format is what the cards were previously to them having an acorn stamp. If an unset was made, the unset had a silver border around it to identify the fact that this is not a legally playable card in actual, like, sanctioned tournaments, and it's like a fun joke card specifically for these sets. But now we have just the acorn stamp at the bottom, and now this is the acorn format, right? Which is the fun, do crazy things, and, you know, interact with a bunch of other people. But back to those lands, I actually wanted to get into that. What we did see, which I'll actually put up on the screen here, hopefully I can get the actual video. We did see the galaxy foiling that I had talked about previously. It looks an awful lot like Pokemon's secret rare foiling. The way they kind of like emboss certain parts of the card and leave the other ones to be foil. And then, of course, they bounce all these little stars everywhere, these little, like, circles of different light, there's, you know, of varying sizes, and those are supposed to represent stars. Now, all of these are available. You know, they're available in most of the cards. Galaxy foils are probably going to look the best on the lands, but you can get a shock land in galaxy foil. So I'm assuming that's probably going to be the hardest thing to get. Speaking of the shock lands, though, shocklands can seem to be found 1 in every 24 packs. So that is including the draft and the collector boosters. I believe the collector boosters is a better chance for them because there's a specific, like, galaxy foil slots for lands, whether that be for the orbital, the planetary, or the shocklands. So obviously your chances are probably higher with collector boosters, as usually is the case. And you can only get galaxy foils in those collector boosters, as well as you can only find the list cards in collector boosters. But the cool thing is that I did not actually realize is that every box comes with a box topper. And each box topper contains a shockland, the borderless shocklands that we, you know, have been drooling about ever since they've been announced. The box toppers contain one traditional foil shockland. So that is a pretty nice saving grace for this set. Now, shocklands are by no means like the expeditions from Zendikar Rising or from Battle for Zendikar, right? Granted, Battle for Zendikar didn't have box toppers, but, like, I'm talking specifically, like, the box toppers for Zendikar Rising were so incredibly good because you were able to get a whole slew of different lands, including fetches, Cavern of Souls, right? You had a whole bunch of cool stuff to do. But with this, your box topper is guaranteed to be a shockland. Now, if this set does go over well and a lot of boxes are open, that means there are going to be a lot of traditional foil shocklands on the market. But the galaxy foil ones are going to be a little harder to get. Now, of course, you could just buy one of every galaxy foil, but again, we're going to talk about the fact that you should wait. Do not buy anything on pre-sale until until the product's out, right? October 7th, the product comes out. Wait until then. Because if you wait until then, you'll at least know how many of them are pulled on a more regular basis, how many people are looking to sell them, and how quickly you can get the ones that you want. But The good news is that this will bring down the Shockland market, because Shocklands were actually spiking in price quite a little bit. But now, knowing that there is going to be a Shockland in every single box topper, let alone a Shockland in just about 1 in every 24 packs, or at least one to, I would imagine you can get at least, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 in a collector booster box. They're at least going to be on the market a little bit more. And that's fantastic, right? That means that the prices are going to go down. The original Shocklands are not going to be sought after as much, because obviously these ones are flashy and new and people are going to want this Galaxy foil. So it is going to do something good for the market that these things are out, but I still think that Unfinity is just genuinely weird. And let me make this explicitly clear, because a lot of people on my last video didn't seem to understand where I'm coming from with this set. I enjoy having fun. I do. I do enjoy having fun. I love the idea behind the unset and how crazy it is and how just wacky and kooky. Like, I would have loved to play during Unglued. Unfortunately, I wasn't playing Magic at that time. But I love the idea behind Uncubes. I think it's weird and quirky and fun, and I do genuinely love it. And I love that this is the case, that people are excited for something like this. Because at the end of the day, the player base is looking for something fun to do, right? You have enough people complaining that mono black is ruining Standard, which is so funny because most places you can't even find a place to play Standard in paper, so you have to play it online. And I just don't get where like the hate is for the regular paper. Then, on top of it all, right, everybody's just excited to have something new, fun, and exciting. But I explained this in a comment that I had made, and I kind of like my analogy for this, right? Wizards of the Coast is still not addressing its problem. And its problem is that the sets are coming out too fast, there's too many things to buy, and we, the people, do not make enough money, I would imagine. Now, that just speaks for myself. I'm kind of projecting in a way. I would imagine most players can't really make a lot of money, and that almost gatekeeps a lot of people from being able to play, because if you can't make the consistent amount of money that you would need to feed this hobby of yours, to consistently get the new cards, to maybe open a box, to go to drafts, to go to pre-releases, to do all this stuff, if you can't fund that happening all the time, well, guess what? You're out, right? You essentially just have to go buy a Pauper deck, and hopefully you and a few friends can play Pauper and not have to worry about the existential crisis that the rest of the market is happening. The analogy I used is, because Wizards of the Coast is not addressing its issue, this is like giving candy to starving children, right? There's no nutritional value in this. This may be a very fun set, and everybody might be super excited for it to be here, and all of us are really like, yeah, some cool, fun ideas, and look at these pretty Shocklands, and look at these pretty basic lands, spacek lands, and look how happy Mark Rosewater is about like the design, about the game, and he's, everything's so happy and upbeat and exciting, but like, it's not solving the issue. And the issue is that they're creating too much product and they're not spacing it out enough. And I will die on this hill, right? I don't have the funds to continuously do this. And I'm so happy that I have patrons who are wanting to open boxes of these sets, because that way I can at least open them, right? Because I personally am never going to be able to buy any of them for myself. Not until further on down the line am I going to be able to go back and go, oh, that's right, Unfinity. Huh. I wonder how that's been doing. I'm being as absolutely genuine as possible here. I think we didn't need an unset right now. Now, obviously, the unset has been talked about since 2018. Because that's apparently when Mark Rosewater had started working on it, was 2018. But these should have been forward-thinking processes, right? I think what makes it worse is knowing that they put this plan into action to release something once a month, every month, a new product, right? Just slams the shelves. And then there's the price increase. You know who didn't have to have a price increase? Get this. And this could be because of some logistics thing I'm just not sure about. Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't have to get a price increase. Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster boxes are the same as they are and have been for a while, at least to my knowledge. And they're doing just fine. They're coming out with a new set every 2 months, but their sets are relatively small. I'm talking like under 300 cards. Whereas with Magic, the sets are upwards of 600 cards, including all of those variants and different foilings and so on and so forth. The odds of you collecting a set now are impossible compared to older sets like the Dark and maybe even Homelands, right? You can buy the entirety of a Homelands for like $130. And that's about the price you'd pay on a box. And then you'd get old cards. Granted, Homelands is not like the most well-loved set, but it's something that you can actually achieve. It's something you can attain. Whereas nowadays, you're spending upwards of a few $1,000s just to complete a set of any of these products. So, with my closing words, again, I just want to make sure to let everybody know I do enjoy the game. I enjoy the unsets. I think that I think it's a fun thing, but I think that from an adult perspective and from what business knowledge I know and from the outcries of the players, not even in just my comment section alone, but throughout several comment sections and several different creators on YouTube, that things are coming by too fast. And because they're coming by too fast, people are starting to skip sets. And when people skip sets so they could buy other sets, Wizards loses out on money. So why would Wizards make a decision to do something like this, right? I think everybody's still recovering from Double Masters 2022. I'm surprised Dominaria United isn't, down the tank right now. And now we got to worry about Unfinity, and we got to worry about the Warhammer 40K. Then we have Game Night as well, Brothers War, then Jumpstart 2022, Dominaria Remastered in January. Like, it just keeps going. And frankly, I'm reserving my money now, right? I mean, none of my money goes to Magic as of right now, unless it's like a couple singles I want to pick up, but it's not going to be anywhere near as much as I would have liked to be spending. But of course, this is due to several factors that I just explained. So I'm curious. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'd be genuinely curious to see what everybody thinks, how this has affected everybody. Tell me what your favorite weird card is from Unfinity. And, tell me whether or not you're going to skip it or not, right? I really, part of me wants to buy a draft box just to have one, but I would like to get another draft box so I can at least have two, and one I can draft later when I get, the ability to play more with my friends. So let me know, and while you're down there leaving that comment, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel as well if you have not already. I like to make this kind of content so I can go over the ups and downs of all the new Magic news that comes out and kind of give you guys the real bare truth of what I personally feel as an opinion. Of course, take it with a grain of salt and form your own opinion. Do more research, watch more YouTubers than just myself, and really figure out where you stand with the product. And while you're, thinking about all that and whether or not you're going to buy Unfinity, check the description down below. We do have a Patreon link for everybody to sign up with. So you can always go ahead and join my Patreon and get some pretty cool little knickknacks. I have a new Patreon video going up sometime soon, so hopefully you guys can catch that. But thank you all so much for watching again, and I really appreciate it. I'll see you all very soon. Nerd out.